Davinci Code, and in this video we'll be making some music video effects that will absolutely tickle your nut cheeks. So let's start off with a trippy little effect. Now I'm just freestyling this, but I am the goat, so I think I know what I'm doing. Let's add a vortex and mess with the angle a little bit. Then we add the displace node and displace this with the vortex. And it's already looking pretty cool. But it feels a little static, so let me add a waviness node. And now this looks way more dynamic. Now we could stop here, but I am the goat, so let's go further. Let's add a fucking fast noise and put some color on this bitch. Now this is absolutely moistening my butt cheeks. We're gonna mess around with the fast noise a bit and then add a displace, and now we're displacing our fast noise. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a merge and we're gonna apply this on our background footage. We mess around with the apply mode. And now this is looking a little decent, but I'm not yet satisfied, so I'm gonna keep changing the fast noise a bit. I feel like it's a little bit too bright, so I'll add a color corrector and turn down the gamma. Now we could stop here, but we are not gonna stop here. We're gonna keep stinking up this place. So let's add another merge once again and then connect our whole effect to it. Now we're gonna use apply modes once again. Then we use a color corrector and tint it green, and this looks absolutely fucking shit. But we're not gonna lose hope, let's keep on going. And I think I'm gonna go with a vortex node instead. Now add a mosaic blur, and let's displace the whole thing by our original footage. Now this is starting to look decent. Let's add a color corrector and then tint it a color that I like. Now this is starting to look absolutely stinky-licious. Now I'm gonna add a luma key here and I'll use this to mask the whole effect. And now with like a little bit more control over what we're doing. And that's it for this first effect. That was an absolutely stinky one and I loved it. Now for our next effect, let's try something a little colorful. Let's start off with a fast noise gradient and I'm gonna put it on radial. Add some colors to it. And then we're gonna change the repeat mode to repeat. And now we have like this looping animation. Then I'm gonna keyframe the offset so it's constantly moving. Then let's fuck around and add the displace. Turn it up and this is starting to look absolutely amazing. I can just feel my butt cheeks clenching. Now let's add a merge and change the apply mode again. And this is absolutely goated. Let's add a luma key here and mask it. Same thing that we did before. And this looks great. We could stop here, but let's try doing a little bit more. I'm gonna add a color corrector, make it green because it's yeet. Now we're gonna do mosaic blur and make sure that the mosaic blur is on the luma key here as well, so that we are also pixelating the mask. And I was curious, so I decided to add an edge detect before the luma key here, and this was actually such a good move because now we have a cool looking pattern and we have control over the whole effect using the edge detect controls. And this one was actually amazing. Now for the next effect, I was thinking of an absolutely stinky retro TV look. So let's go ahead with the most basic node we could add, scan lines. And we're just gonna mess around with the controls a little bit. And we just drop this fat JPEG image. And just like that, we have like a little bit of compression on our video. Now just adjust the colors and brightness a little bit. Then I use a fast noise and mess around till we get something that we can use to displace our footage. And now I'm gonna displace it on the x-axis and that's looking pretty decent. Then I just add the mosaic blur and mess around with the colors a little bit more. And there we have a very classic looking TV look. And for our next effect, I'll be using one of my macros. So these macros are basically huge node trees that are combined into one effect by me. And you can see how all the controls are really easy to use. I'm just gonna mess around with the controls a little bit. And I think this looks pretty interesting, so let's use this. I'll just add a vortex for fun. Then we mess around a little bit with the color corrector. And now just merge it like we always did. I decided to also add a gray node. Then I add a JPEG damage node. And now I have something pretty interesting. It was a little dark, so I added a color corrector node. And now we have like this interesting retro look. And just like that, we've turned it from this to this into this, and this into this. Now this was a pretty fun video to make, but I have big news. I'm releasing my own macro pack full of absolutely stinky effects that are even harder to make than the ones I just showed you. They are all organized and easy to use effects, and you basically just drag them in and you have entire effects just like that. So if you want to skip the absolute torture of trying to build these effects on your own, the Davinci Goat has your back. This pack will have a bunch of absolutely amazing handcrafted effects, such as retro TV looks, glitches, reactive effects, and abstract effects. I can absolutely guarantee that these effects will tickle your nutsacks and moisten your butt cheeks. And I'll try to keep regularly making these packs, and from your support I'll be able to keep doing all of this, and hopefully I'll get enough money for therapy.